You're listening to the Weekend Sports Buzz, Saturdays 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. and Sundays 10 a.m. to noon. Tell us your thoughts on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
Welcome back into the Weekend Sports Buzz. Myself, Tyler Boyd, Kelly Patrick, our man Hank Garrett's in studio with us this week, and maybe for the next month or so. It's basketball time, and we got our basketball expert with us because we need that, and it's that time. If you're in Alabama, you want your football expert, like Kelly just said. Before I do get to Buzzline real quick, just quick little tidbit. 10,000 people yesterday randomly received one call from who other than Charlie Strong pushing him to buy Belk Bowl tickets. Kelly, what's going on? You didn't receive. Mark got the call yesterday.
Yeah.
He told me after the show.
Error, season ticket holders.
What happened there?
Everybody, which I'm not.
A glitch? Yeah,
it was a glitch. It was an error. No big deal.
That's pretty funny.
No harm. Appreciate it if you dropped it.
Thanks, Mom. She brought it up.
No, I'm just kidding. That's funny. That's good stuff.
I think it's funny.
That is good stuff. I mean, you get a call real excited. Yeah. I've gotten calls like
Charlie
that before.
Strong.
Charlie Strong just wanted to encourage you to buy the Belk Bowl tickets. Just real, Charlie Strong talk.
That would have been awesome.
I would like to hear it. Somebody, if you've got it out there and you can replay it for us, 502-384-1450. I haven't heard it yet. I've heard about it.
I'd like to hear it too. Let's go to the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzzline because we got our first guest on talking fantasy football since it is Sunday. FERRELL ELLIOTT, KFFSC.com commissioner. Good morning, FERRELL.
Hey, fellas. Good morning.
How are you today?
Couldn't be better, fellas. Couldn't be better. It's championship week in the KFFS.
Yes, sir, it is. Now, my first question is, where in the world is FERRELL ELLIOTT today? Is he locally or is he somewhere out on the prowl?
Oh, I am pleased to be at home, guys. It feels good to finally be at home.
Good.
I'm looking at my January schedule, and I'm going, how do you be in this many places? And one of the places I'm going to be at the very end of the season is Green Bay at Minnesota, and I'm going to a late December game inside.
Yes.
Always a good move for me inside at that time.
Always kind of scary in Minnesota.
I made a mistake a few years ago and it worked out to be the greatest game. It went overtime, but a Monday nighter in late December in Chicago. The weather was snowy, very, very cold, much like what we're going to have perhaps in Green Bay today.
Oh, yeah, on that interception. Kelly, were you going to bring up the interception? Was that the Brett Favre pick to Minnesota? Or the opposite?
Favre threw away the game that
night. The overtime, the first pass, he went deep and was picked off.
Bears and Vikings.
Yep.
And it was a disappointment. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Sounds like it was a little sore subject for you there, FERRELL.
Some money on the game? I'm reliving it, and when you sit through that kind of weather, and you at least would like to see the team you're rooting for win, and that didn't work out. But
so that's a big
fantasy teams, guys. This weekend, how are you two stacking up in your your match to the finish?
I'm in a total of 3 leagues. Tyler and I in our head-to-head matchup. The FERRELL so graciously put together for us, which he is guaranteed is going to be a great prize at the end of it.
I heard $1 million purse.
I'm proud to say I'm dominating Tyler in that.
Yeah, it's over.
Being that both Tyler and I are out of it in the Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship League this year. We'll be back next year, FERRELL.
Yeah, FERRELL, we're down and out. We're going to finish it out strong. Win or loss, it's okay. But I want to know who's in first or maybe second. Do you know the overall lead?
Yes, and you guys can check the overall league by going to the website, to KFFSC.com. Individually, since you guys are participating in the league, you'll see a link also when you log in for your teams. But anyone that's listening can go to the website, KFFSC.com, and check the leaderboard. And currently the leaderboard is John Duckworth. John is out of Atlanta, Georgia, and he has built a significant lead over the field, but it's never over. But John has probably got the earliest first week lead of anyone. He's in there. He's ahead right now of about 40 to 50 points, but he can be caught. It's a big Jason Kahn, former world champion out of Cleveland, is in second. We have a couple local guys. Richard Bates is in third. Brian Hobbs is in fifth. The fourth player escapes me, but the players are moving in and out. It's real-time scoring, real-time standings on the website, and they can watch each other at any point of the games during Sunday and see exactly where they stand. 65 teams going, shooting for those first 5 slots. It's a pretty significant situation. They're going to do it with some players today. Guys, I've got had to be pretty excited about DeMarco Murray returning for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah,
you got into the playoffs, and you managed to do so with the injured DeMarco Murray on your roster. You can now confidently put him back in. His 23 carries last week. Now, which one of you guys has the wife with Jeremy Curley on her roster?
That would be me.
All right, let's get that girl happy by telling her to put Curley in the lineup today. Dustin Keller is out.
All right.
Very little tight end action. Curley's opportunities in an offense which leans heavily on him. Curley's a much better-looking player today.
Look at that. Throwing it out there for your wife. Go, yeah, Farrell, I'm far from being married. I'm far from being married. But I wanted to mention, you brought up John Duckworth. We spoke to him. You set him up on our show that we did during the draft weekend at the casino. He was a great guy. It's coincidentally that he is the leader. I sat down the night before I even knew who he was at the poker table with him as he took a few $100 from me. So obviously he's good at what he does.
John Duckworth, yeah, John is one of the better players. Now, John took – we had 3 drafting options. You guys each played 1. Tyler, did you play 2 main event teams?
No, I was going to do 2. I was going to do the Vegas League, but we ended up just going 1 this year.
John did 3 main event teams, a Saturday morning, a Saturday night, and a Sunday team. He's winning the league with his Saturday night team, but his 2 other teams failed to make the playoffs. It's a situation, it's a very fine line between being great. He sat down at the table with the same collection of knowledge for those other 2 teams, but those teams aren't in the top 65. So it's a situation when you come, you're going to, it's a very, very fine line between where you guys ended up this year and being in this top 65 and making the race to the championship.
Farrell, owners out there have historically not leaned on rookie quarterbacks. What we have right now is possibly week 1 of the playoffs for a lot of the fantasy owners out there. And if you look at the rankings of what quarterbacks are going to do real good this week, Robert Griffin III is right up there with the very best, maybe even the best start this week. And they're playing against the Baltimore Ravens. How unprecedented is that? And should people feel comfortable starting a rookie this late in the year?
Yeah, change of the guard. We talked earlier in the season about how rookies tend to hit the wall about this time of the season. Not at this position, and not the guys that you're speaking of. RG3 is the number 1 fantasy points producer in the KFFSC. Wow. Andrew Luck is not far behind. Both these players were drafted after the 10th round in most cases in our event.
That's crazy that a rookie is leading basically he's the points leader, the go-to guy in a league of extraordinary people.
Well, what he's done is he's thrown for touchdowns at a clip that nobody expected. He's rushed for touchdowns like people expected. He hasn't thrown the interceptions and had the points deducted from his total, plus big yardage and a lot of shootouts against defenses in his division, which are not what they used to be. Just like Baltimore's not what they used to be. Hey, guys, what about this Monday night game? Talking about one of the greatest quarterbacks, Tom Brady, is still towards the top in fantasy production. Texans come in. We don't usually talk about individual defensive players on this show, but Jonathan Joseph returns to the Texans lineup, and it's a situation that they're going to need him. I don't think it's enough to derail the Patriots in what could be a shootout, but when it comes to fantasy players, at least for this week's games, nothing's going to be decided until Monday night because I look at all those active players on both sides of the ball that'll be on rosters.
Yeah, Jonathan Joseph, it's a little bit of a sore spot for me. I know that salary cap issues come up, but, out of South Carolina, played his first 5 years, I think, with the Bengals, very good, and he is being added in off the injured list to a, Houston team that has played very well defensively this year, so it will be very interesting to see how they match up against Tom Terrific, Handsome Tom, on Monday night.
Well, let's bring back a little real-world experience on those salary cap issues.
Wow.
Jonathan Joseph, well, let me backtrack a little bit. During and previous to the last labor agreements, you always hear management embrace the idea of the salary cap, but the players' union let the NFL get off the hook, but they could be within 20% of the salary cap, and Cincinnati was barely there. What will even continue to add soreness to that spot is, fellas, they could have afforded it. They could have paid it.
Yeah, I didn't want to get to that, but yeah, the Bengals are historically cheap. They're relying on Leon Hall, Pac-Man. You know, they still manage to have a pretty stingy defense right now, projected to do pretty well probably with the Geno Atkins-led pass rush against Romo today. But I don't even want to think about how good they could be if they had one of the best cover men, Jonathan Joseph, still on the roster.
The fans are going probably to begin to demand that up there as the club gets better. You know, Dallas comes in at 6-6 today, and the Cincinnati Bengals are winning with players that, although they're contributing, I would say they're overperforming. You know, you speak of Atkins, who's a very solid player, but that's overperformance, and no one expected him to play at this level in the league. And you've got to have that to have a successful team. Their front office, obviously, in my mind, is getting much better at identifying players who can come in and contribute. And that's a good thing, because when they got rid of Carson Palmer, they sure got a ton of draft picks. So now they're knowing exactly what to do with them. Look for your Bengals to get better, and if you can get better with draft picks, playing for the minimum, then you can finally go ahead and pay some of these guys. There's no reason not to, because you'll have the money available.
Oh, yeah, I think you totally agree. Farrell, I have to ask you one more thing before we let you go. As always, I like to throw out something in the sports world. Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, won the Heisman. Did he, in your mind, did he deserve it, or should it went to one of the other two?
Yes, he deserved it. It was sort of, for me, just watching the kid's reaction when he picked out his trophy, and you know, based on where he comes from, and having just a small knowledge of the story like I do, it was refreshing to see a player win it so early in his career who may hang around, and we can see the continued production of a Heisman winner. It was a pretty exciting thing. Hey, I was reading something that made me think of you last night.
Oh, no.
Yes, I was reading
Crime Times.
You know, is that Crime Times a real magazine?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a real thing?
And hold on, real quick, I have to throw something in on that one. I actually found out that the way they make money is you have to pay them when you get arrested to stay out of the magazine, because they're official public records. So they have somebody there, and they're going to tell you that they're going to put your picture in Crime Times, and so you pay them to keep your picture out.
Farrell, sounds like our basketball expert Hank Garrett here may have had a run-in with Crime Times.
No.
I just researched it.
Fellas, when it's all said and done and St. Peter meets you at the gates, I don't know if I want to have that Crime Times on my resume as being part of that organization on either side of it. I think the bigger crime might be making money out of that situation. Well, no, I was reading, you know, we talked all year about your receiver or your pitcher, Chapman.
Yeah.
And his situation of moving him out of the bullpen or making him starter. And same situation was done in a very similar overpowering pitcher in 1949 with Casey Stengel, and the pitcher was Allie Reynolds. And Casey Stengel, he said, "No, they'll never pay me." Allie Reynolds, "No, they'll never pay me, Casey, to be a reliever." And he says, "Well, I'll go in and get you the money." And he says, "Why do you want me to be a reliever?" He says, "Well, when I bring you in, half of the other guys faint." So that's probably good. That's probably the one reason they should leave Chapman in the bullpen, is because half of the opposition gives up. And, you know, guys, just think what even a greater pitcher Chapman would be if he was on another team. Just imagine if he's on another team and your Reds are trailing by a run, and Chapman comes out of the bullpen and he's pitching against your Reds.
I'm already turning the TV off.
Yeah, it's over. I don't think our guys could hit him. So I continue to believe that no one else can either.
I think Ferrell just might have changed my mind of my thoughts of Chapman. Probably not, though, because I want to see him throwing 9-inning complete games, shutout, perfect games. But, hey, that's why it's a great argument, and once baseball comes around, it's going to be a huge topic. We can definitely talk about that, Ferrell. As always, thanks to Ferrell Elliott, KFFSC.com commissioner, every Wednesday, the Fantasy Football Hour right here on 1450 from noon to 1. Check it out, him and Bacon, Trevor Kelsey. Ferrell, enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Thank you, guys. Talk to you next week.
As always. Again, Ferrell. Matt, do we have a caller real quick? Let's go to our caller real quick, and we got to get to our break for Joe Tronzo. We're going to talk to Joe, the color analyst for Louisville. But Oxmoor, Ford Lincoln Buzzline. Brian, the insider? Do we have Brian on?
How's everyone doing this morning?
Doing great. How you doing, Brian?
Doing great. Boy, I tell you what, I'm still got a big smile on my face from that fight last night.
What did you think of it? I know you've been watching boxing for a long time, being that you're a little more up in the years than we are. How does that stack up against your other fights you've watched?
Yeah.
I've been watching fights since I was a kid. Both my mom and dad were big fight enthusiasts. I used to stay up and do the pay-per-view with my father and watch Mike Tyson, and I've been watching fights for years. I'll put the undercard, the last fight before that one, which I thought was fantastic, and the Pacquiao fight I put up there with might have been the best fight I've ever seen. I just couldn't get over it. I thought Pacquiao, and the judges said he had it, and he just let his guard down for 1 second there with 2 seconds left in the 6th round. And my goodness, he was just knocked unconscious and just. I thought he was dead when he was laying on the ground. I was so, they were celebrating everyone. I kept saying, well, let's just make sure he moves. And Pacquiao, what a class act. He jumped up and smiled and congratulated everyone. He acted like he didn't. He makes us all look like wimps for waking up with a hangover. That guy just got drilled in the head and seemed tickled to death. But one of the best fights I've ever seen, if not the best. Would you guys, anyone on the show, watch it?
I will say, Kelly watched it. I'm going to let you take it. But before you do take it, I will say, I would have woke up happy too, because I just made me $4-5 million. I don't even know how many $1 million. Come knock me out. I'm open. Face is ready. I'm ready.
Yeah, regardless, he's making a lot of money, and I agree with you, Brian. He's the most jocular guy who's getting ready to fight or just fought, just got knocked out. He's so comfortable in the spotlight. It's amazing. You got to say he's a good sport. Unfortunately, you may say he's washed up.
Is he on the way down?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's washed up. I personally think the other guy, you hear the controversy with the trainer.
His PEDs were better than Pacquiao's.
I'm sorry?
His PEDs were better than Pacquiao's.
Yeah, no question about that. But that guy had a lot more juice in his punches than he had. I don't think Pacquiao's gotten any better, and he certainly peaked. But I think it was more of just a crushing blow to the head. Pacquiao was going to win the fight. He was still out punching the guy, and was on his way. He just let his guard down, and this guy who's got some newfound power in his punch just snapped his head off his shoulders. Just unbelievable.
Brian, before we let you go, is there anything we need to look forward to in the realm of horse racing?
Well, it's kind of quite. Gulfstream opened up, so there's great winter racing going down there. Gulfstream, a lot of the Churchill regulars went to Gulfstream. Of course, a lot of them went to the fairgrounds. That meet's going. Kind of a little lull horse racing wise, but it's cranking up. The 2-year-olds are all going to turn 3 January 1, and it won't be long here, guys, before we really jump into the 3-year-old crop and we start talking Derby. And there's some that are starting to separate, but that there's still a very good chance next year's Derby winner hasn't even started in a race yet. So it's a very exciting time of the year for the Oaks and Derby when you're trying to look through who might be starting the first Saturday of May in one of those races. It's and most of the good horses are down there in Palm Meadows Training Center down there by Gulfstream. Some of them are in Aqueduct in New York, but great time of the year to start thinking Derby.
Great. Well, Brian, we always appreciate the horse racing and all other sporting insights from you. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Thanks, guys. We love your show. Keep it up. Thank you.
Playing fantasy football is all about a winning strategy. For a winning strategy, when you buy or sell a home, allow Jamie Cox at Keller Williams Louisville East. He has just been tearing it up this year.
Killing it.
Over 40 homes. But let Jamie Cox at Keller Williams Louisville East put together a winning game plan for you. With interest rates near an all-time low, there's never been a better time to buy or upgrade. For personal attention, effective marketing, and results, contact Jamie Cox at 502-593-5454 or email Jamie directly at jamie@thederbycityrealtor.com. And once again, that's Jamie, Jamey. Call our man Jamie Cox. Works with the KFF-SC with us. Great guy. He'll help you out there. We'll be back with more from the Weekend Sports Buzz.
It's the Weekend Sports Buzz. Let us know what you think. Give us a call on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
Welcome back into the weekend Sports Buzz here on 1450 AM. Kelly showing very not radio-worthy pictures right now here. Anyways, we're going to go to the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line real quick to somebody that has some great insight, the color analyst for the Louisville Cardinals football, former Louisville Cardinal player, Joe Tronzo. Joe, good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
I myself, I could be better. Kelly probably couldn't be better.
Joe, I'm the resident Louisville fan, and overall, between basketball and football, conference affiliation, it's a good time to be a Cards fan, isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, you take into account what has transpired over the past few weeks with the announcement going to the ACC, and then keeping Coach Strong and the basketball program doing very well. It is an exciting time for Card fans.
We're looking forward to, obviously, the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans.
January
Everything's
2nd.
positive right now. Everything's, going well. I'm hoping that Louisville is at least competitive. I like to think of myself as a realistic fan. I'd like for them to win, obviously. If they won, that would be huge. What are your projections for the game?
Well, I don't like really projecting a whole lot, but I know it's going to be a great opportunity for them. Cardinal fans, when U of L was sitting 8-0, 9-0, and they were talking about, hey, why aren't we getting a lot of respect nationally and things, and people talking about haven't played any good teams. Well, they're going to get their shot. They're going against a team that was arguably put into the national championship picture. So you're to exactly where this football program stacks up against one of the upper echelons. So I look for it. I look for it to be competitive. I think that just over the past few seasons, and it's just kind of always seemed to be this way with Louisville, I'm not sure, just playing up to competition and down to competition sometimes. So I expect this to be a very competitive game. I was looking, the spread was 17 or something like that. I have to believe it'll be closer than that. But I think they're going to come in and be very excited. They're going to be very, very loose. They have really nothing to lose. Huge underdog going in with a little chip on their shoulder to say, hey, we want recognition for not only the team but the program, the university, and I look forward to be a highly competitive game.
Great. Joe, Hank Garrett here. I sit in with the guys sometimes. I just want to first off saying that you did a great job. I listened to 4 or 5 games on the radio. Definitely gave a younger perspective, for all the late 20s people out there. You really talked in a language that I don't think was above us and gave some great insight. So I just wanted to congratulate you on the job that you did, first off.
Thank you.
And
that's really what I wanted to do. Anybody can sit there and see, the ball got ran up the middle, but hey, there was a completed pass. But I really want to try to explain why that happened. What coverages did, how this guy reacted to this thing that brought this guy open. So yeah, I hope I'm being able to convey that across to people, because that's really what I was looking forward to doing.
Oh, definitely. You did a great job with that. As the things transpired over with Charlie Strong, do you think some of the things were blown out of proportion? Because just with the coaching searches, the way that they happen, and I think especially with football, a lot of these guys are still playing bowl games. So I'm not sure if there's a right or a wrong way to go about it. And I personally think, that coaches entertaining the ideas, that goes straight to the offers that you see on ESPN, the one about Les Miles, Arkansas just threw out that huge number. And I don't know if they really ever had a shot at Les Miles or how those things work. I just wanted to get your thoughts on those.
Well, I think it can kind of become a card game as well. Get someone else to show their hand. When you look down at Arkansas, they threw out that big number. I don't remember what it was. So of course Les Miles is going to listen to them. He may himself, be bluffing, but he's going to at least look, because if that number is higher than the number he's getting paid at LSU, then he, goes back to his athletic director and say, hey, I have this offer. I want to stay here. What can you do for me? And, you see Les Miles sign a little bit of an extension and probably a nice little bump in pay. So it's all a game. Like you said, the timing of it, usually when coaches are getting hired, they're coming from winning teams. And those winning teams are in bowl games. And if the opportunity is in front of you, you can't really say, hey, I can't do that right now. I have a bowl game to prep for, because those schools who are hiring you are looking to get you in right now to get going in recruiting classes and all that. So when it comes to it, I don't think there's really a right way to do it. I don't think that you have to be upfront and with the fans and all that, but I think that you need to be upfront with the athletic director and with your players. And in Strong's case, I think he did a great job. He was communicating with Jurich and with his players. And no offense to the fans, but those are the people that he needs to be accountable for. First and foremost are the guys who play for him and the man who hired him. And I think he did a great job. I know that this week was probably one of the least productive work weeks for a lot of Cardinal fans. I know that I found myself looking on ESPN and SI.com, Yahoo Sports, probably more this week than I have my entire life, just seeing, hey, what's the latest chatter and things like that. But like I said, there's really not a right way to go about it, but I think as long as you are upfront and honest with your players and with your athletic director, that's probably the best way to go about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Again, we have Joe Tronzo on, the current Louisville color analyst. Joe, I wanted to ask you, now obviously Louisville's in the ACC in 2 years. Charlie is sticking around for the foreseeable future. Where does this now set up for recruiting, and how good could Louisville be? Obviously, they're going to be good next year, but now that they're entering the ACC and everybody knows that Strong's going to be around, players are going to want to come to Louisville. How good could this be for the university?
It'll be great. Just all sports. Let me say that first and foremost. I think it'll be great for all sports. You look ACC, a great baseball league, soccer league, very good women's lacrosse, track and field. So all across the entire spectrum, it's great. And then you look at the Big Two. I think the ACC, with the addition of Louisville, becomes no doubt the best basketball conference in the country. And then with Louisville coming in, I think it really solidified the football conference. But that's really going to help. I was talking with one of the people on the football staff and talking with Mr. Jurich, and so it was the day of because we were flying out to Rutgers, I think, when the announcement was made, and he said, well, congratulations on all that. Now go recruit. So I think the Big East and the uncertainty of the Big East Conference and just where it was going, kind of degrading, as well as what's going to happen with Strong. I think that was a huge deterrent for a lot of recruits, and definitely an uphill battle for the coaches to sell on. But I think with the move to the ACC and seeing Coach Strong turn down such a prestigious job offering in the SEC, I think it's really going to send a lot of messages to recruits when he goes in there and say, hey, we're going to a great conference. I turned down the offer. I'm here. I've committed. So now there's really nothing that another school could say, hey, you're getting recruited by Louisville, but what about the Big East? What about Coach Strong's future? They can't use those tools against them recruiting. So I think it does a fantastic, it does nothing but positive things recruiting-wise.
Once again, we really appreciate our man Joe Tronzo, the color analyst for Louisville football, coming on with us. Before we let you go, Joe, tell us about what you're doing, your work with the Louisville Sports Performance Institute. Yep,
we're training young athletes in trying to improve their athletic fundamentals. So many kids, they practice their sports-specific skill so much, but they don't actually work on the athlete. the basis of their athletic components. Some schools, they have their own workouts and all this and all that, but sometimes it's not under the supervision of someone who truly studies and knows in depth what they're talking about. So that's what we want to offer to kids. We work with kids anywhere from 8 up to pro athletes, college guys looking to do their pro days. So a whole realm of athletes working to get them stronger, faster, more mobile. So the whole component of being an athlete, it's not just being able to hit a baseball, throw a football, dunk a basketball. There's a lot more that goes into it, so that's where we want to really strengthen are those athletic components.
Well, Joe, thank you very much for coming on. We look forward to having you on again in the future, and have a great rest of your Sunday.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Joe. Great little segment there. Joe Tronzo, co-analyst, Louisville Cardinals. I'm sure you'll be hearing him much more next season because he did, like Hank said, he did a great job. I heard him a few times as well. I know we're up against this break real quick. I'm going to get it out there real quick. It is Christmas time, Kelly. December what?
Super excited.
Super excited.
I'm so excited.
I know you are. You have family,
seriously, kids, everybody.
Exactly.
Exciting time.
Oh, okay. Well, we're not going to go to break yet, but we're going to go to this to lead it into our My Man Handsome Jimmy because we got something special to talk about. Does your little helper need a reminder from Santa Claus to stay on the nice list, Kelly? Maybe. On SendASantaCall.com, you can schedule a call from Santa to your child. Personalize the call with child's name, a gift from their wish list, behavior that needs to be correcting, anything from stop fighting with your sister, doing their homework, there are multiple things.
We did this.
We did it, yeah. With 50 selections, there's a reminder for every child. Go to SendSantaCall.com and enter donation code BBBS at checkpoint. That is for Big Brothers Big Sisters, which is what this is for. Big Brothers Big Sisters 1450 partners, which is awesome. It's only $4.99, $5. A portion of the proceeds goes straight to Big Brothers Big Sisters. SendASantaCall.com, or you can go straight to the 1450tosportsbuzz.com website and click on the Santa. Right there, it'll take you straight to the link, and then you personalize a message from Santa, kind of like Charlie Strong's personalized messages to the Belt Bowl.
You could say that. It is good stuff, though, to see the partnership with the Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Say what you want about 1450. They talk about different things.
Yeah.
We're the only locally owned radio station in the city that covers sports exclusively and doing some great partnership with Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Huge.
Here in the Louisville area. We got our man Handsome on the line. How you doing this morning, Handsome?
Gil, talking to you. It's always a pleasure, my man, talking to y'all, too. You hear me?
Oh, my goodness. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much on that, my man. And I like that interview with Joe. You got Phil Elliott on. I mean, y'all the best, man. Y'all got the interviews is outstanding, and the show's outstanding. I want y'all to know that.
We appreciate it. Well, we obviously, Kelly, you've got the co-host with Handsome before. I haven't had the opportunity yet, and you absolutely enjoyed doing that. So
certainly,
we love having everybody part of 1450. Handsome, the reason we got you on the line now, we talked about it yesterday. The TV show's coming up with you and Greg Brom, Insight Channel 21, 11 o'clock. Handsome Claus.
At 11. Hey, Tina, thanks for correcting me. Last time I was on, we was on like at 11:30.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that, my man. It's 11 o'clock.
No big deal. 11 o'clock, Insight Channel 21. The Christmas special, Handsome Claus. Let the listeners know a little bit what's going on with this special.
I got to tell you, about 3 years ago, owner Duke and Ryan come up to me and said, man, what about this Handsome Claus? How'd you like to do that? I said, you're not. Well, tell me about it. And he said, well, go on TV show and put up, with sports, what you would like, and have callers call in and ask, well, Handsome, I like to get this, Then we just comment on it and go back and forth, and the show was just great. And so it's the third year, been on TV on the show, and it's just been great, and the ratings has been good. So he asked me to do it again. So
yeah,
if he asked me, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the normal show. on Sunday nights, 11 o'clock. It's a very interactive show, one of the only ones around town that you can call in and talk directly to Greg Brom and his.
It's the only one in town, Chief.
It's only one in town. You can call in, talk to Brom, talk to Handsome, or whoever his guest is, Montrell Jones, Nick Coffey, Roll Mines. There's everybody. It's a different guy, different week. Chip Cosby. You can talk directly to him, ask your questions. It's live. We're not going to calm you down. We want you to call, and then, like you said, the Handsome Clause. If you want to call in and nail it with him and Greg Brom, it's going to be a beautiful show. I can't wait.
Jill, if you don't get a chance to call in tonight, just on the air right now. If you have a chance, if it's something you want, in sports, what would you want Handsome Clause to give you, buddy?
That's a great question. Golly, let's see here. Louisville basketball championship would be top of my list.
No question.
Now, Handsome told me yesterday his wish from the real Santa was UK being beat by the Cards 4 days after Christmas.
No, I wish you hit it right. The BCS definitely want to win that, and they definitely want to win a national championship. And I told you before, we got a real important game in this rivalry, and that losing streak, was at 4, and that's got to end.
Yep.
And I think the main Santa is going to deliver that to me, and I know it's Handsome Clause. Got to get off that list, my man.
I totally agree. Well, everybody needs to check it out tonight, 11 o'clock p.m., Insight Channel 21. Greg Brom, Handsome Jimmy, a.k.a. Handsome Claus, getting it going. Call in, talk to him, get your questions out there, because it's Christmas time. Who doesn't want to talk to Handsome Claus?
Gee, I appreciate it, buddy. Kelly, my man, y'all have a great, wonderful day, my man.
You too, Handsome.
Good stuff there. I actually have to try to stay up a little later than normal tonight on a Sunday night.
2 nights in a row for you. I know it's hard to do. It's your upper echelon of age, but
no, I have to call in, share my wishes. I have a big wish list as far as what I would like Handsome Claus to follow through with on this year. I want the Bengals to run through New York Giants style, win the Super Bowl.
I bet Handsome wants Chapman to throw 5 perfect games next year.
I want to see Chapman turn into a CC Sabathia level starter.
Yep.
And the Reds to win it
without being fat, though.
Without being fat, with the lean modesty of the great Cuban defector that he is.
I do want to get this out. I know we're up against our break. Birthdays today. It's Kurt Angle. Since we did talk boxing and wrestling, there's a little combo for both there.
Kurt Angle. I got to watch one of my good buddies I worked with for a while in the restaurants. Was a pro wrestler. I got to watch him wrestle. No, Danny Inferno Kid Jamondo is his name. That's his name, Danny Inferno Kid Jamondo.
That's awesome.
I got to watch him wrestle Angle on national TV one time.
That's pretty sweet. It's also Dick Butkus' birthday, one of the all-time
greats. Good stuff there.
It is. I know you're a big fan of Today in Sports. What's happened throughout the history.
Throw a question at me.
The
Will Chamberlain one, I liked that.
Throw one at this one. This isn't the question. This is 1987. Larry Bird ended his streak of 59 consecutive free throws. We've had a lot of free throw talk about good shooters. That man's a good shooter. Free throw line and out anywhere else.
I think it carries over.
It carries.
I've got my own theories on that. But
Jerry Rice began his NFL streak of 100 consecutive games with a reception. Nothing special, but it's pretty good. Frank Robinson was traded from the Reds, our Redlegs, to the Orioles. Sad day in Cincinnati. There wasn't really any questions this week in the sport. We'll get one though.
You could get on a whole different
next week or two. So
whole different topic when it comes to basketball. You said 87 and Larry Bird. What that brings me to is
last national championship.
Bill Simmons talking about in his opinion, obviously a biased Celtics fan, but he thinks the 86 Celtics are the best team in the history of the NBA. They had Bill Walton coming off the bench. They had the Chief Robert Parrish as the starting center. Obviously, they had Bird. What do you think about that, Hank? Would you consider maybe the 86 Celtics above even the 96 Bulls, who went 72-10?
Good question.
I don't have enough knowledge of the 80s NBA. Now, I believe that's the year Simmons will famously say, I think it's the year that the Lakers didn't show up to the party, were beaten by the Rockets, or that may have been the season after. But anything that I say or anything that Simmons says, I'm going to have to agree with. It's hard to argue against the 96 Bulls. Maybe more pieces. Could they have had anybody that could have guarded Jordan? You know,
here's the roster. Here's the notable guys that we know. The average basketball fan knows today who's on that 86 roster.
I already got a text about your question immediately.
Tell us what it was.
Chicago Bulls. That's all it said.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I saw the Chicago Bulls team. Contraction hadn't started, so it's kind of comparing apples and oranges. Expansion hadn't started. I'm sorry. Yeah, so there was fewer teams in '86, but Danny Ainge, Larry Bird, Rick Carlisle, Dennis Johnson, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, Bill Walton. I mean, it was a heck of a team in '86. Obviously, I was young then. It's tough to compare.
Last championship for the Cardinals, you definitely don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't. But that's the first thing that popped in my head when you talk about the '87 Larry Bird streak.
It really is. We're not going to take a break. We're just going to cruise through to the top of the hour.
Breaks are no fun.
Breaks are no fun.
Before we do,
and one thing I will have to say about that is Jordan was the guy that didn't lose in the finals.
True, that's true.
You know, that's the one thing I will bring up in the greatest player conversation. When he got to that final stage,
it was over.
He was unbeatable.
What was your Hank? You're a basketball man, Hank. What was your favorite series for a finals? Watching Jordan, grow up.
Was it probably the last Utah one? Yeah, probably the last
Byron
Utah
Russell.
one.
Yep.
The '93 really, is
Portland.
No, that was the Suns. That's the one I remember fully. The two other one, it starts to get a little
Penny Hardaway
with the younger ones. With the
that was the Eastern Finals.
Yeah, the '95. It was actually, I believe, the Eastern Conference semis. That was Jordan's comeback, the prior comeback.
Nick Anderson.
Was that number 45? The number 45 year.
Yes.
When he came back,
and then they were beaten there, and then of course the '96 team is the greatest record in the history of the NBA, beating the Supersonics. But with the Jazz, I thought the second time around with the Jazz, I thought they had a legitimate shot to beat them, or probably should have beat them. A lot of NBA analysts say they should have won. They had the better group. They had been there. People were getting tired. Scottie Pippen's back was a mess. And you talk about other things. Jalen Rose always says that Indiana Pacers team should have beat them.
Yeah,
they had them on the ropes. They had them on the ropes, up 16 at halftime in Game 7. But then again, it was just Jordan. He was just a killer.
Having MJ in that lineup was always a huge thing.
You can make a case that he just changed the superstar, the mold of what we expect out of a superstar. If it was the end of a game, rarely would he drop the ball and screw up. He missed game-winning shots.
Did he ever screw up?
He did. He
games?
missed a lot of game-winning shots.
Not
You've seen
the
poster. But when it really mattered, Jordan brought it, and that can't be evidenced anymore by Hank's point that he was undefeated, 6-0 in the finals. Kobe's won 5. Mm-hmm. How many finals has he lost now? 3? So, I think you got to say that is maybe what separates.
I will say, since we're not going to go to a break, this segment is brought to you by Franklin Taxes and Accounting, servicing residents and business owners nationwide, offering up financial planning, tax preparation services, estate planning, LLC, and corporation setup, and forensic auditing. They're doing it all there, Franklin Tax Accounting. They can help any corporation or small business with payroll, monthly financials, bookkeeping, and much more. They're located right here in southern Indiana, 611 Watt Street, Jeffersonville. Contact a friendly and dedicated CPA, Marcy Franklin, who has 15-plus years of experience, 502-424-1179, or check out their website, franklintaxes.com, for more information. They are committed to providing expert advice and meeting every client's individual needs. Franklin Taxes and Accounting and Jamie Cox of Keller Williams Louisville East are our two favorite people here on the Weekend Sports Buzz. They've been with us since the start of KFFSC.com, so we appreciate both of them. Let's see here, 384-1450. We got about 6-7 minutes left.
I think we do have to give Colby his props, though. Becomes
30.
Well, yeah, fourth on all time.
Fourth on all time, and the fastest to score. How many points?
30,000.
30,000.
Imagine scoring 30,000
based on his age.
points.
Obviously, he's got a leg up, being that he didn't play any college basketball. He doesn't have a leg up, I guess, on Moses Malone, who came straight out.
Yeah,
but that's relatively
was he the
new
first
thing.
guy to come straight out?
I believe Moses Malone was.
Big guy.
I believe Moses Malone was.
Yes.
Sean Kemp was probably the second.
Sean Kemp. Well, you can't really say Sean Kemp was at Kentucky.
He sat out a year.
Yeah, sat out a year. Okay. Famously stole Sean Sutton's necklace.
Yep.
Took a picture with it and then took it to a pawn shop. That's what we can always remember Sean Kemp for. But yeah, Daryl Dawkins was another one.
Chocolate Thunder.
Yeah, Moses Malone again was there, and I
And
think
then
there were
Kevin
a
Garnett.
couple guys that did that back and forth. But yeah, then you see the kind of the Garnett era explosion of the guys that come in, kind of that what I call the super wing. You know, the 6'8" to 7 foot range, but plays away from the basket. You saw a lot of those younger guys were bigger, longer guys. Jonathan Bender.
Jonathan Bender. I had almost forgot about him.
Yeah, you know, you look at those guys. Broke Michael Jordan's scoring record in the McDonald's All-American game.
He was
with
great.
The explosion. Yeah, really, his career was hampered by knee injuries. Played for the Pacers for a couple years. Tried to make a couple comebacks, but yeah. It was really an explosion by those guys.
That's why I bring Hank in, the basketball expert.
Yeah, and
Seriously.
speaking of basketball, talking about...
I got some text here.
All right, read the
Lone
text.
Gunworks text line. We got one from Kevin here. How much is it for my kid to get a phone call from Handsome Claus? I want him to tell my kid to show his dad some respect, baby. That's a classic little text there from Kevin. We also have one from DJ. He asks, how old is Kurt Angle? Either you don't have the document in front of you. We'll let Hank take a shot. When do you think he was born, or how old do you think he is?
41.
41. Kelly,
I haven't looked at it.
Okay,
I'm going to say
surprised. That surprises me that you haven't looked at the pre-show.
I look at it sometimes. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to say he's 49.
He was born in 1968, so you all can do the math, and I'm not gonna.
So he's like 40.
1968. 45, 46 years old.
Yeah.
Right in there. So there's that.
we
DJ
about
also
split it
texts.
there. All right, DJ's
About
talkative.
he's going hot right now. The 96 Bulls still the best. Just because the Celtics lost one home game doesn't make them the best. And we got that's two people. I had a guy text me. Now DJ, they both think the
So he's
Bulls.
saying the
I
90s
think the Bulls are the best as well.
Certainly, having seen a guy like Dennis Rodman being able to be thrown into the mix and really just master the art of rebounding and playing great defense. He didn't demand many shots. I'm not saying Stephen Van Treese is the second coming, but but no. In a way, I would say Stephen Van Treese is a very, very dirt poor man's Dennis Rodman. What do you think of that? He doesn't demand shots, no offensive skills whatsoever.
The Man Bear Pig has no Dennis Rodman in him at all.
I'm not saying he's going to throw on a wedding dress and marrying himself, but he comes in, he rebounds. You can't always quantify what he does just by even his rebounding stats. But Van Treese, I like how Rashawn really went straight to that earlier. Back to the NBA.
Yeah, he did.
Back to the NBA and comparing greatness. I like DJ said that he goes with the Bulls. I watch the Bulls. I got to side with them too. You think Kobe's going to win another title? Is he going to make it 6 this year? You think the Lakers have what it takes with that all-star roster? What do you think, Hank?
Definitely not this year. You look at these great moves. Rarely do they pan out in the first year.
Yeah.
With Nash being hurt, with not playing all together. Because one thing I will say, Kobe, like Jordan, like a lot of these other guys, he's not the easiest guy to play with. A lot of these superstars aren't. Perfect example, Friday night. Knicks beat the Heat, all right? Everybody's on the Knicks bandwagon. I ask you this question. Carmelo doesn't play, all right? Knicks shoot a phenomenal percentage from the three-point line. Do they hit all those threes if Carmelo plays? Carmelo is notoriously a ball stopper.
Yeah.
The ball comes to him and it stops the ball, all right? Or the ball stops there.
Black hole. He's a black hole.
Yeah. Now, are they a better team? Definitely, in the long run, possibly. But
without Carmelo?
I think they're better with Carmelo.
Okay, I would say so.
I think
too.
with Amari,
Carmelo's having a
they're
heck of
not
a
as good.
season. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but
You're fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing. Will he come off the bench? Will his ego let him? Almost every national
he says
analyst,
he's okay with it.
Yeah, they say that they're better, but who knows?
Who knows?
But yeah, it's just it's not easy to play with superstars, and I think it's going to take Kobe and these guys a year or two. Yes, I do think they get a title.
I know exactly what Hank's talking about. Me sitting beside Kelly every Sunday, it's hard to work with a superstar like Kelly Patrick.
Understandably so. I mean, when you have someone who garners all the attention similar to a Jordan or Kobe, such as myself,
yeah,
I can understand how
I know we're
difficult.
Just a minute or so left in the show. This week, Kentucky doesn't play till Saturday. They'll take on Lipscomb. Then another week, they'll take on Marshall. And then finally another week, the big one against Kentucky, and then same for Louisville. Let's see, their next game comes
next Saturday,
a week from today at Memphis. Then they're going to play on the 19th against Florida International and
Ricky Jr.
Little Ricky Jr.
and Gorky's return, possibly.
Gorky's return, followed by
projected.
Western, followed by In-State Western, and then the big one, Kentucky. So Couple decent games for Louisville.
Basketball
Kentucky,
season,
not
baby.
so much.
Gotta love it.
Memphis, the biggest disappointment thus far in the college
maybe
basketball season.
UCLA's with them too. Looks like we're done with the show because Matt, the intern, is working.
Great week. We're done.